I am live. Yeah, I'm live. That's a good thing. The last thing I want to do is be dead. Can't really accomplish much of anything that way, can I? All right. Let's see here. We just get this thing. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I'm gonna get it all figured out where I can get this set up one night and not have to do anything. Just set it up, go live, and I actually appear like I know what I'm doing. So, because at the moment I still have no clue. But if I can come off looking like I know what I'm doing, that still kind of counts for something, I'm sure. Anyhow. Oh, look what I found. Oh, happy day. Brand new pick. All right. Oh, let's see here. Well, we have somebody has come by. I have a hunch I know who you are. Yeah. Hi, baby. Okay, so I'm still trying to figure out what the law does and doesn't allow, and the law on YouTube and new laws and rules and regulations doesn't and doesn't allow in the realm of copyrighted material. And I have figured this much out so far. As long as what I'm doing is a review, it's brief, I'm not trying to read the entire book or something. And the idea is, and I get this, if I was to say, for example, present the entire book, say, y'all, we're going to go live, it might take me an hour, it might take me two, but we're going to hit this dude cover to cover, and then give a review of it. That technically is still not legitimate, I guess, legitimate use of the material. Because the idea is by having presented the entire book in one sitting, you no longer have any reason to go buy the book yourself. And therefore, the publishers are going to lose money. And this is what it comes down to, is the publishers. The author, when they write their book and they go to their publisher, and because I guess there's a contract, and a publisher, if you're a well-known author, a publisher might say, hey, look, I need 3 titles a year out of you or something. You get paid for that upon completion. And I'm sure you probably still get some kind of royalties out of sales or something, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure how that goes. But the publisher, the only way they make any money out of publishing your book is for other people to buy it. Not just like a few dozen either, bunches of people. So if you were to do something as a form of a public reading, even I'm not monetized, so I can honestly say, hey, I'm not trying to in any way profit or make myself known to become, just become more popular. I'm not gaining anything financially, but to use that in doing so, and the publisher doesn't make a dime, and then let's say I in fact do become popular, and thousands of people come across these videos, and like, oh wow, I don't even have to buy the book. I'll just sit and listen to him and read. I can read I can listen while I'm driving. I can listen while I'm relaxing. I can listen while I'm cooking dinner, etc., etc. And that's true. Like books on tape. But see, the difference with books on tape is you actually paid for those. You bought those. Or someone else who bought them lent it to you. The situation here, when you're publicly making copyrighted material available, is if you were to read the book cover to cover, or even just, several chapters or what have you, people are now less likely to purchase the book themselves. And therefore, if thousands of people came to that same conclusion, then the publisher is losing thousands of dollars. So I do understand that much of it. So the book that we're reviewing this evening, in portion, if I can do this without the light blurring out the cover, the 100 Best Poems of. And like this other book I've been reading out of, the American Poems, these are, although these are also got some newer ones in here, but these go all the way back to pre-6th century, which is BC. I think the oldest one I saw in here was, well, I forget how far back, a ways. So far back that, in fact, the King James English, that a lot of these are in this other book I have, so far back that there's another form of English even prior to that, which is actually similar to, but not the same as modern day. It's pretty interesting. So, I don't know who's here or who's not, because the mama was here a minute ago, but at the moment it shows nobody, and I'm already almost 6 minutes in. So, I guess we'll relinquish this to the fact that it'll be seen after the fact. And that being the case, I'm going to go ahead and get started. The book, oh, you're here? Okay. Yeah, now it shows you're here again. It's been saying 0 for quite a while. So, the book again is the 100 Best Poems of All Time. Let's get the light off of it just right there. So there. 100 Best Poems of All Time. It says edited by Leslie Pockell. Pockell. And I guess the reason that would still make her the author of the book, but obviously not the author of the poems. So, and it is published by Grand Central Publishing. We will get into the front cover here and see where Grand Central is. New York and Boston. Grand Central Publishing, New York and Boston. So with that, the copyright on this is 2001 by Warner Books Incorporated. So, there's just so much information that you don't know what's important enough that needs to be made known and what's not. So, but anyhow, so here we go. Way back to page 175, which is in fact the very last poem in this book. The author is Maya Angelou, Maya Angelou, and I've read this a couple times over because I've got decent use of grammar, but sometimes, like here lately, I've been noticing some of these poems I've been reading, or even the one with the song lyrics the other night, get some really big words that I have difficult time pronouncing or understanding the definitions of. So, but it says here, Angelou, I'm assuming because it's L-O-U, it's Angelou, so, Angelou, who has read both at a presidential inauguration and at the Million Man March, is known for inspiring courage, perseverance, and self-acceptance. Still I Rise, which is the title of this poem, Still I Rise celebrates these themes, as well as her drive to be heard and to make a difference. With that, Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides. Just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs out of the huts of history's shame? I rise up from the past that's rooted in pain. I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide. Willing and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. And that, again, is Still I Rise by Maya Angelou, dated 1928. Very interesting. So, the mama, currently, I believe, but I don't know, now I'm wondering, because now, maybe then this doesn't always show accurately, and if it says I have one, maybe two, because when it says 0, I have 1. So, and you know that, see, you are a walking, talking encyclopedia. For those of you who aren't here yet, therefore will be seeing this at a later time, my wife reads a lot. The other night, a friend of mine, Mike Brown, here on YouTube, and who I actually became familiar with. I actually met him on the Discord platform, Discord app, which is a chat room platform. That this particular chat room called Weirdo Hangout was created by Chrome Valdez from Van City Van Life, a channel here on YouTube. And it's a pretty neat little place. Everybody who's into the van life, some people don't even have a van, but they are intrigued by van life, and therefore they follow along. And we've got a kind of a little, I don't want to say a clique. I mean, really true friendships are being formed here. And so that's why I met Mike. I subscribed to his channel. I believe he subscribed to mine. We interact a lot and comment people's different videos and stuff. Comment a lot in the chat room and all. But the chat room's where I met him there before I met him on YouTube. And he, the other night, whenever I do a live stream, he's usually by now in bed because he works and right now he's sleeping. At midnight hour here is 1 a.m. where he's at. And he's got a job to get up and go to work in the morning. So, but like when I do my Sunday night live streams, music, mouthiness, and Michelob, he tends to pop in for those. And the other night, he's calling the mama a bookworm because she reads a lot, y'all. So, I mean, Miss Elaine will put a book down long enough to go, you know, make dinner or something, and she'd been reading it for hours. If I say it's a good big thick novel, usually I don't know. Maybe do you do the novels a lot? I know she does stuff that's historical fact, things that you can learn from, things that are intriguing, information. Okay, and a lot of times we'll be sitting there. We have our recliner side by side, and she'll be sitting there reading, and every now and then you'll hear. Usually she's just completely quiet. I can be watching different kind of movies and stuff and carrying on making noise. I play guitar, so I might be out jamming playing guitar. Usually if I play guitar, she puts the book down sometimes. If she's doing these little Sudoku, whatever kind of puzzles, she might keep them going. But most often, though, even when I'm being bothersome, she just keeps on reading. She'll put it down, go make dinner. We'll sit down and eat. And after dinner, she'll go pick it right back up again. And then when she finally finishes it, you figure... Most people be like, all right, I'm good. Now I'm going to go do something else. You know? The mama We'll go put that book away and pick up another book and sit right back down. She hasn't been up 5 minutes from the time she got out of her chair, put a book up, picked another book out, sat back down. Hadn't been 5 minutes, and whip out her little bookmark and get it ready and go ahead and start turning pages. And she'll read sometimes 2 books in a day, maybe finish one, read another one in its entirety, and then begin a third. So she reads a lot, but she is so full of information. She reminds me of that movie, if you ever saw that, with Sir Anthony Hopkins, called The Edge. He and Alec Baldwin, and I can't think of the other one. She was in the she's been in another movie. But anyway, there were a lot of famous actors and actresses in this movie. And anyway, Sir Anthony Hopkins is very wealthy, well-to-do, and he reads a lot. So, hello there, Elegant Homestead. How are you? And in this movie, they're on a trip, and the airplane they're in crashes, and they're stuck out in the wilderness. And because of all these books he's read, which was useless information, stuff that he never thought he'd ever have a need for, actually helps to save their lives. And so my wife is the same way. She will read and read and read. And a lot of times it's not so much about, I need to learn this because. So, well, and that's what because my brain is so tiny, it needs to be expanded. But she is very, very full of information. And it just amazes me. Every now and then I think I'm kind of clever. I like, oh, I bet you she don't know nothing about this. And I'll try to surprise her with my, look here, I know some things too. And then when I get done with my whatever delivery of 2-3 minutes of knowledge on whatever the subject was, then Mrs. Lane will take that and expound upon it and start telling me what she knows, which shows I don't know squat. But yeah, so she does. She reads a lot. And when I had started this mic at midnight, the whole plan was to find things that people don't have the time for. Between our jobs, people who even don't work as far as having a job to report to, they may still be housewives or, someone who's self-employed that currently don't have any contracts or anything. But they still have things going on in your life, taking care of kids, taking care of a home, taking care of a car, what have you. And so I've just, because I'm usually always up at the midnight hour anyway, and I decided that I need to have myself some intake of something other than movies and music. That's my whole life is movies and music. I'm kind of like, if you've ever watched the original NCIS series, I'm kind of like Michael Weatherly, or Weatherly, I think his name is, Anthony DiNozzo. And I'm one of these that I can relate certain situations in my life and look back and say, oh, this is just like this movie where, a lot of these with DiNozzo be like, that's like that one time Bogey was in, the Maltese Falcon or whatever, and start, quoting situations in movies and relate that to the situation they're in. And I can do that a lot in my life. But I need more substance than just, movies, which are, even when they take a movie and they use factual events like Forrest Gump. All right, it took a lot of factual events to make this movie, but it was still false. It was still a situation that didn't exist. It wasn't even based on a true story. They just took truth and used it to make a really interesting movie. So I need more than just the movies and, of course, my guitar and the music I listen to and whatever else. And I've decided to start doing this. I'm in a quandary right now, trying to find out what I am and am not allowed to do with these new copyright laws that are out and things. Because by no means do I want to violate copyright laws, obviously. And nor do I want my channel to be taken down. I think there's like a first offense kind of a thing. They'll just go ahead, they'll strike your video. Or like, I had a YouTube channel years ago, but and I get, elegant, I get into these, I don't want to say rut, but every now and then I'll get that reading bug, and I'll read books too. We have a whole bookcase full of these Reader's Digest condensed novels. We find them at these resale shops and stuff for a quarter or $1 or $2 or whatever. And no, they're not a complete set. They're not meant, but by the same token, I put them in chronological order from when they were published, and it still makes for an impressive small little library. In fact, this wall behind me here, not that wall, this wall. I'm in what we have a 4-bedroom home. We call this particular room the study, because I'm sitting at our desk. We have a big old partner desk. It's got drawers on both sides. And what I'm going to do with the wall behind me is literally build built-in bookshelves, because we have so many books. We have paperbacks out the wazoo. We've got hardcovers. We have encyclopedia sets, and we have bunches and bunches and bunches of books. And honestly, when I'm done with that, I would like to actually find those same stories that the Reader Digest has that aren't condensed. Because if it's condensed, that means somebody, some editor somewhere, sat down and decided, okay, this doesn't need to be this. It would be like taking the Bible and determining what people really need and what they don't, and removing a whole bunch of it, and then there'd be the condensed version. That in these stories and all these. Now, I've been reading the Reader's Digest books for years. When I was a child, I can remember back to like the 6th grade, going to the library at my elementary school, and that's what to this day, I remember a story about a guy named Eddie Burkle, the Can-Do Kid. Now, the Reader's Digest back then were little slender little paperbacks. In fact, they were about the same size as these right here. They weren't maybe quite this thick, but yeah, they were about this size. And every one of them, of course, had that same Reader's Digest logo, and they still had maybe 4, 5, 6 stories in them, although they were, I guess, the condensed versions. Does that make sense? Because these hardbound Reader's Digest books we have now that are condensed versions, there's 4 stories in each of these hardbound books. Well, if there were 4 to 6 in the paperback books in the same size print, then that means that, plus there was advertising in those, there aren't in these, but in the paperback versions. So therefore, the one would have to come to the conclusion that therefore they've apparently condensed those stories even more to be able to fit 4 or 6 of them in the book. And I could be wrong. Maybe it was just 3, and then they fit just, I don't know. But I've always enjoyed reading. It's just that I guess as I've gotten older, I'm like, I don't know, most guys, I want to be entertained. I like to put my headphones on, or years ago when I couldn't find a set of headphones that was comfortable. So I went out and I bought a very tall, narrow set of stereo speakers. And what I would do, and they were probably right about 30 inches tall, not quite 3 foot, and maybe 10 inches, 8 to 10 inches wide, and about 6 inches deep. And I'd lay them on the floor in the shape of a V. And then I would lay on my back on the floor with my head in between. So where the V kind of spread out like this, that would be where my shoulders were. And I'd lay there like that with the music playing and laying on my back on the floor just bebopping. That was years ago. And it would get to the point where the only way people who maybe was coming by, I lived like a block away from where I worked. And so every now and then some of my friends from work would come over and they'd beat on the door and I wouldn't even hear them. They'd finally have to stomp on the front porch. It was an old wooden porch. They'd have to stomp on the porch to get my, because I'd feel that to the floor. But I love to just get in the zone, get my headphones on there and just tune out. So, yeah, and see, that's what Elaine and I, Elaine treats books the same way I treat movies. Someone asked me one time, why do you bother buying these movies? Of course, nowadays you can get them on DVD $5, $8, $9 at Walmart. You know, have a $7 bin, a $5 bin, or whatever. Sometimes you can get them cheaper than that. It'd be like 4 for $10. You know, so that's $2.50 a piece. They say, why? You know, when you go to a theater and you watch the movie in a theater, do you go back next weekend and watch the same movie again? And of course the answer is supposed to be no, but in fact there have been times I have, not very often, but I can think maybe 3 or 4 movies that I most certainly did watch on more than one occasion in the movie theater. And but they don't understand the idea is that Smokey and the Bandit, whoever can say they've only watched it once? You know, there's just certain movies that you want to see again and again. Well, what the mama does is she'll do the same thing with books. You know, we don't just read a book and just pitch it, you know, or give it away to the library. In fact, half the books we have, the library gives away, and we pick them up. So sometimes they have the books on sale first, and then eventually they'll have the price dropped after you know, they're just trying to clear out inventory to make room for new books. And when where we live, Melbourne, Arkansas, small little town, there's not a very big library here. So to bring new books in, they got to get rid of some of the older books. What they'll do is they'll try to get a higher price for them, and which is still a modest price. They're very affordable. But then when all the good ones, of course, sell almost immediately. And then when what's left doesn't sell, then they'll go ahead and they'll drop the price. Some big novels, you know, World War II novels and stuff for $1 a piece when it was all said and done. And then eventually everything that's left that doesn't sell, they put it in a box. They set it outside the library door so that even after they lock up, it's still out there in the entryway. And it says free. So we've loaded up a lot in the library here in Melbourne. And but the idea being is there might be a book that she hasn't read in a very long time. The title strikes her that she knows I've read this before, and she knows it was something that she enjoyed, but because it's been quite a while since she's read it, she might remember the plot, and she might remember a lot of the things in it, but she's like, you know, I'm going to just read that again because she knew she'll enjoy it. And there's things you forget that when you read the second time, and even in fact, just like movies, there's things in a movie you'll see the second time that you didn't see the first time. And the mama's like that when she reads books. So we have this room here that we call the study, and when I'm done with it, this whole wall behind me, that's kind of a mess right now. Our house is under renovations, so we're using this room and another for storage. From that corner there all the way over, we got VHS tapes too, so all the way over to the other corner there by the door. This entire wall, top to bottom, is going to be nothing but built-in bookshelves. That yours truly, the handyman that I am, yours truly is going to build and stain and varnish or shellac or whatever, polyurethane, whatever I'll do to give them a gloss. And we'll start loading them up. And that way she has an entire wall. And of course what I'll do is take like the paperbacks, tend to be, even though there's a lot of paper involved in them, a lot of them are thicker, but they're still lightweight. So I'll put the paperbacks, the lighter stuff, toward the top. The big heavier things like your encyclopedias and large dictionaries. She's got a lot of medical books and stuff. I'll put all that toward the bottom. And what did I miss? Well, and see, that's the thing too. When you Google information, you're only getting the information that Google wants you to have. Google is just like any other news source. You know, in the end, they're controlled by the government. You know, a lot of people don't want to believe that, but I sincerely do. And let's face it, let's say the three of us here right now, we all three have a news agency, and we all three are going to report on the news. Well, I want you, the other people out here, to tune into my news show, not to either of yours. So the thing is that by the same token, I'll have some kind of rules or whatever that determine what I'm even allowed to report on. And that's a lot of things people don't understand about the news. The news tells us what the government tells them to tell us. We don't get the news unabridged or whatever the word is, where it hasn't been tainted with anyone's opinion. The all your news agencies, whether it be a television and a newspaper, all your news agencies are political. If you're following one that is predominantly Democrat or far left, of course they're going to trash our current president and they're going to love our previous president. If they're more conservative or far right, then they're going to trash our previous president and embrace the one we have now. So instead of just simply reporting without any kind of bias, simply report what Donald Trump said, what Donald Trump has done, and let the general public come to their own interpretation of the facts. The news agency should project the facts and then allow us, the viewers, come to our own conclusion of what those facts are telling us. We instead have them telling us what those facts mean. In fact, they don't even give us the facts. They'll just simply tell us this, that, and the other. President Trump said this. And they'll leave out something. And they're not lying. He did say this. But he didn't say this in the context that they're presenting it. And same thing when Barack Obama was president. There'd be news agencies to discredit him. Or, I mean, you can go back as far as Ronald Reagan, go back to the beginning of time, I suppose, that that's always been the way news agencies work. And honestly, it kind of bothers me after a while. There was a movie, believe it or not, honey, there was a movie. We've talked about Sonny and Cher, and we have a lot of reverence for Sonny Bono as a politician, Ronald Reagan as a politician. Well, and it's not their job to tell us how to think. It's their job to tell us the facts and then allow us to do our own thinking. But yeah, you're right. They try to manipulate our way of thinking. But yeah, there was a movie, and I can't remember the name of it. It starred Cher back when her and Sonny were married when they were really young, and he was trying to become a movie director. And they're in Mexico, and she's, by no means, she's not a hooker or anything in this movie, but she is living in whorehouses as a means of trying to stay off the streets and take care of herself and do whatever, to bounce back after what, I forget what it was that she wound up there to begin with. But the movie was bad. I mean, I enjoy movies. Some movies I watch, I'm like, well, it's probably not one I'll ever watch again. And so I have a kind of a list of those particular movies, so that because I've always had friends say, hey man, let me borrow some movies, I'll bring them back next weekend, and you never see them again. I've lost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in VHS tapes and DVDs and CDs that, or even in the sheet music in my songbook. I've had so many people borrow with the intentions of returning, and then and even when you call them, say, hey man, I need that back, when you're done with it yet, and you never see it again. So now when if anyone says, hey man, I need to borrow a couple movies, man, we don't have cable no more, so can I borrow a couple of your movies? I know you got a whole bunch. I give them the ones that are off that list that I know I'll never watch again. That way, if they don't return them, no big deal. But this one, and in the truck I'm in now, I drive a big rig for a living. The truck I'm in now, I don't have television. I do all my viewing on my phone. But in previous trucks, I've had television, VCR, DVD player, something. And I had watched this movie, some truck stop I had been parked at for the weekend, and the movie was so bad. I decided I could use the case the movie came in, the little plastic cases, those are valuable to me. But the movie was so bad, I was like, I'm not even going to pass this on to anybody else. I went and broke it into pieces, and where I happened to be at was one of these truck stops where you nose into the parking spots and back out. And so where I was nosed at, there was a trash can right there. I went and busted that thing up in pieces. I thought, man, I'm not going to punish anybody and make them watch that. And I was really, really shocked, because I had a lot of respect for Sonny Bono and Cher, although she's not by any means my favorite actress. And yes, once upon a time she was beautiful, but the movie, it was bad. It really was bad. But yeah, so the mama, like she said here, of all the books she's ever read, there's one that she would never read again. So I'm curious which one that is. So, anyhow. Well, Elegant Homestead, what is going on in your world this evening? So you are 67, remember a lot that isn't recorded the way you remember. Well, I can say the same thing, but I also have to wonder that there was a time in my life where I would, I guess, what we would call nowadays recreational drug use. I don't get high. I don't smoke. I rarely drink a beer. Um, don't drink hard liquor at all. And but there was a time where I did all the above and then some. And so I wonder sometimes if the stuff that I don't remember it going that way, but the truth is I'm not sure that I remember it very accurately at all. So, but yeah, I think the news agencies anymore are the mouthpiece of the government, that they are manipulating what we think and what we do. You know, all these cops that were getting shot for a while. I'm glad that stopped, or at least to the best of my knowledge, it's stopped. If it hasn't, they've stopped reporting on it. All these cops that were getting shot, black men pulling over, shooting cops. But the thing of it is, it wasn't all white cops. Some of the cops they were shooting were black cops too. And I'm missing something here. Here we go. Yeah. But the idea was that they were doing that in response to what the media was presenting as quote unquote news. They were making the police out to be murderers. And the problem is that my attitude on that has changed. The problem isn't that my attitude's changed, but because of the problem, my attitude's changed. There's more and more people that are resorting to dash cams, and I saw one the other day was a private investigator who, just like the police, has a body cam. A few years back, I had seen a guy, he reposts cars for a living, and his sunglasses didn't look much different than I wear these old people sunglasses. They fit right over these. But his had, okay, can y'all see there's these little vent holes up on the top here? There was a hole smaller than one of these right smack dab in the center of the bridge. And somehow inside there is a camera. Now, the only thing that was kind of peculiar about these, they were more streamlined than these. But on the side, which I guess was the recording device on one side and probably a battery in the other, the temples were a lot thicker and kind of awkward looking. But other than that, though, to see the guy, they just look like regular pair of sunglasses. And he advises people that the people who come out run out of their house, no, and they threaten them and whatever else. Now, you might not want to do this because you may be being recorded right now. And the thing of it is everybody, truckers now, we have cameras and windshields and stuff. Toxic masculinity. Oof, don't get me started on that. The thing is too is like, okay, Gillette, and I've been trying to keep my hands off of that. I've been trying not to, because there's so many people jumping on that bandwagon, and I've got to the point that I've already seen the commercial. I've already seen the response to the negativity that came out of the commercial, and now it's just a whole bunch of people trying to get views on their channels, and so therefore I don't even follow it anymore. But the thing of it is there's a video I did see that showed some of the other things that Gillette has done. You know, the best a man can get with this really gorgeous looking model that's supposedly the guy's wife, and now that he's clean shaven and she's about ready to devour him right there in the restroom, you know, in the bathroom at home. And some of the sexuality that they've done through the years, and that was okay then because they were trying to make money. But now that it's frowned upon, now it's toxic masculinity. You know, we just as a joke, it really is. But for me, I've just got to the point where, like you'd seen a lot of this with the news lately, and these cops are out of control. And I don't wonder that people are talking about certain things like these border patrol check stations that are nowhere near the border. They're not supposed to be any farther than 100 miles from the border, and some of them are a couple hundred or more miles from the border. And so I don't wonder if it's not going to get to the point that there'll be checkpoints all over this country eventually, that cops will have free reign to do whatever they feel is necessary, kind of like now. This guy choked a man. I don't know if he's redneck or not, but there was a white, and usually I don't talk about color. We all bleed red, and that's the way I believe racism should be. Racism should be based on what color your blood is, not what color your skin is. And the ambulance is driving at a high rate of speed without its lights flashing and without the siren going, because that could cause an adverse condition with whatever was wrong with their patient. So they're moving along, and this cop's pulling them over. While the cop's trying to pull them over, and meanwhile the ambulance driver's like, hey, we got a patient in the back and whatever else, and the cop is getting more and more aggressive. So finally the ambulance pulls over, and the attendant in the back of the ambulance, who I guess was the supervisor, he comes out of those back doors. And the cop is telling him just mind his own business. Well, he's like, no, he says, because you're agitated right now, and I'm not going to have you talking to my driver like that, who's doing what he's supposed to do, because we've got a patient in the back and we're trying to get to the hospital. And the cop actually, and the guy who was the attendant that came out, he's black. The cop literally has him like this and has him shoved up against the side of the ambulance for no other reason than him trying to, calmly tell. And he was saying, hey, we got a patient in the back. He reminded this cop 4 or 5 times, and he's trying to do this whole deal, trying to calm this cop down. The cop is just getting more and more out. And when it's all said and done, I seen this. I'm appalled at what I saw in this video. And that guy's sergeant or captain, whoever, said, well, my officer did nothing wrong. I'm like, really? And it's getting out of hand. It really is. There's so many of these videos I've seen where no, I'm one of these wussy guys. Elaine says how it's going to be, and the only thing I say is, yes, dear. I always get to have the last word. Yes, dear. Anything you say, sugar plum. That's how it is around here. Take out the garbage. Yes, dear. So, but no, I'm teasing. We have a partnership, and that's, more important to me than the word relationship, or, we're married. We've been married. In fact, March 1st, we've been married 5 years. And the thing of it is it's equal, and that's how it's supposed to be. My wife's 10 years my senior. I moved up here. Yeah, like Pinocchio. I moved up here to the home that her, she's a widow, and her departed husband built this. It started off as a trailer and turned it into the big 4-bedroom home it is now. And but nonetheless, whenever it comes to what she's going to spend money on something, or it comes to a decision that, what we might or might not do here as a couple, she still checks with me first. Because we value each other's opinion. It's not about asking for permission. I told her I do without a lot. I do without showers. I do without sleep. I obviously, we're married, and I'm on the road. She's not there with me. I do without sex. I do without my sanity some days, because being lied to by brokers and dispatchers and cut off in traffic on a regular basis because you're so heavy and so slow, it just really just takes a toll on you after a while. So every now and then I'm like, you know what? I'm not like a redneck where, well, it's my money, I'll spend it the way I want. I'm not like that. And 49 years, well, awesome. One more, and that's 50 silver, isn't it? Or yeah, 50th. No, 25th anniversary is silver, and the 50th is golden, I think. So that's awesome. And the thing is, we like I said, we have a partnership, and so I'll tell her, I said, look, now I'm not calling to ask for permission. I'm calling to see if we can afford to spend the amount that I'm wanting to spend on something. Now, if we can't afford it, then no, I'm not going to go to Guitar Center and buy a new guitar, $300 or something. I'm not going to do that if she says, no, we can't afford it. But if she says, well, yeah, but I was kind of wanting to spend some of that money on something else, then I'll also take that into consideration. But if by the same token we don't have any other bills coming up due, and of course we rarely have $300 in the bank because I'm not making any kind of a living where I'm at, then she says, "Well, just go ahead," and then I do. But like I said, it's not about calling for permission; it's about respect for the fact that she's my partner. And she'll always say, "Well, it's your money; you earned it." I'm like, "No, it's our money. I earned it for our household." And it's just her, me, our 5 cats, and 2 dogs. And it's still our household. That's what it comes down to. A lot of people have that mentality of yours and mine, and even I've done that. I've done the hours thing in past relationships. I've been married before, and it doesn't work. It works for us, but in other situations it hasn't worked. The my first wife couldn't balance a checkbook to save her own life. Every time I'd come back through, on the back side, you go do all the math and everything, and your balance and the bank's balance on your statement should match. And it'd always be off every time with the two of us working out of the same checkbook. So finally I said, you know what, this doesn't work. So we had 2 separate checking accounts. And then whenever she needed money, I would transfer money from my account into her account. And or if I was going to be home, because back then I worked barge line, I'd be gone for a month at a time, I'd write her a check from my account that she could cash into her account and then do what she wanted with. But then one day she said, well, here, go through this with me. And then the very first time she ever had her own account, her balance was to the penny. Now, how is it you could do that when it's just you, but you couldn't do that when it's you and I both in the same account? So, and I had one who, most people in marriages or even couples who aren't married, that'll have, I'm just, there's not a lot. The other day, I forget what it was. I had one, my birthday present. I wanted a new video camera. This is a photo camera and video camera both. And I wish I'd have done a little more homework on it. I love it though, I really do. But it doesn't have a forward-facing screen. And the back screen, though it does move and pivot some. For example, I could be looking above it, looking down, and use the screen that way. I can even tilt it in the other direction where I can have it slightly above me if I needed to. But the one thing it will not let me do is it will not let me turn the screen sideways so that I can be in front of it and still see that I've got everything worked out. Although I have, for example, here, let me show you something here. I'm caught up on my mouse cable here. So what I do when I'm using my new camera, and the video I've recently posted, now this is something when you finally find a camera you're interested in, this is something you'll want to know about. You need, if you're going to be using it for video specifically, you'll need the ability to have a forward-facing viewfinder. That's this portion of the camera. That's what they call this, is the viewfinder. Right? I like this one because it's got such a large screen. And but like I said, you'll want. And I like. Here's the other thing about cameras: the larger the lens, the more light can get in that lens, and that's what gives videos their crispness in photos in general. If you look at these videos I have posted, van life videos, the trucking videos, the guitar videos, they've all been done with my Samsung Galaxy phone. I got a Galaxy S5. And I know they're up like Galaxy 8 now or something like that. I'm not one of these people, every time the phone upgrades, I get another phone. I'll keep this until the battery... Right now, the battery doesn't hold charge as long as it used to, and I keep maxing out the memory, and it's getting to the point where I have to, because of apps and updates and whatever else, that's eating away at how much space I have for storage. So, the nice thing that I like about this is you can determine how much, and the memory card, I got this is 128 gig, I believe it was, the biggest memory card they've got. And because I might not get to taking all the videos off right away, and then they'll fill up. So now see, I have a note in the truck that I'm in. They have the note I'm not sure which note. It's a Galaxy, but I'm not sure which one it is. But it's for the e-logs. Trucking anymore is required to have e-logs. But the reason I wanted one of these with a larger lens was the fact with the more light that can get in because of that large lens, the videos and specifically the colors. The video of me sitting in this room, I'm wearing a beige t-shirt. It's got a picture of Mount Rushmore on it, and then it's got some Indian chiefs above it that are notably as important as the presidents and the stone below. But anyhow, that's the first video I have done indoors with this camera. And so that's how well this camera does, just by having that extra large lens to let light in. It's a Nikon. It's called the Cool Pix. Just a cool, like when you're outdoors in winter, you're cool. It's cold. COOLPIX. The letter B as in boy. B500 is what this is. And it comes in two styles. This is what they call plum. I'm not sure how well you can see the color on this. This one is plum, and then there's another one that was black. And I figured most people probably would go for the black one, and therefore I like to be different. I love this. So far, I have two, I won't say complaints, but I have two issues. And I'm not saying that in either case that I'd have bought something different. I think knowing me, I'd have probably still bought this because I pretty well had my mind made up. I looked at one, and this was under $300. I forget what we paid for it, like $259, $249, something like that. There was one I saw at Walmart that was similar but not the same, and it was bright red, metallic red. And again, the color is really not that big of a deal to me. Just the fact that it's different. The red one especially, you can set it down and you won't have to worry about, what did I do with it? Where did I put it? Things that are black, or in this case plum, you might set them down, and especially in a room that's not really brightly lit, have an issue trying to find it. My only two issues with this camera, and I've had it now for a couple weeks, and I love it, is it would match your hair better if you had your hair the way it used to be. I like when Miss Elaine started having her hair dyed purple. Her granddaughter is the one that does her hair. Her granddaughter did it, and it was vibrant, but I still liked it. And I thought it was pretty nice. But meanwhile, the granddaughter's boss came by the other day when Miss Elaine was getting her hair done, and said, "No, you need to do it like this." And so now this time you hardly even notice any color there. So, but okay, so back to the camera. And there's a few things else that I'll mention that you might want to consider. One thing I like about this is it comes with this little dude right here. Now it's real small. It's even you got your micro USB on most Galaxy products for the power cord. I am not sure what this is. This is much smaller than the micro USB, and I will show you the port here. So the one where the yellow goes, the yellow border, the one with the yellow frame around of it, that's the one that plugs into. And then I plug it into the laptop. And if you've ever taken your tablet or a cell phone, smartphone, and plugged into your computer to be able to take files off, I can do the same thing with this camera, and I love it. So the other, I'm assuming, is it says let me see here. HOMI. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm assuming that that's a another type of micro USB. But I love the fact that I can remove files without having to do all kinds of processes and stuff to get information from this to that. Just plug it in, take what I need. But let me show you something here. Right now, if you're wanting to use this as a video camera, or even to take a photo. Now, can you tell whether or not you're centered in the viewfinder? No, you can't. And yeah, I believe, yeah, HDMI. I couldn't tell the way that it looked like a O, but yeah, HDMI is what that is, because it comes around like this and doesn't quite connect above. So okay, HDMI. I don't know what that is, but the camera has it in it. So on the top, let me show you here. These little let me see if you can. There's three little angled slots right there. And then there's 3 more of them. Well, okay, the light's not going to... There we go. There's 3 more right there. Do you see them right next to the dial right here? 3 little slots. And then 3 more there. It has stereo microphones. How cool is that? And then on the back side here, little snowflake looking thing, that's your speaker. So it doesn't have stereo speaker because I guess they realize you're going to be taking video off of this and putting it somewhere else. But it has really good sound. Again, you see the video I posted, and you might not be into the guitar videos, but I'm going to send you to that video to give you an idea of the quality that this camera produces. I don't have an external mic. I've been telling Miss Elaine they got one that's called a dead cat. And that way when you're outdoors, because a lot of the van life and trucking videos I'll do will be outdoors, you'll be able to record without having the sound of the wind whipping around the microphone. So, but the video, like I said, this same background right here behind me, and it's called, Why, If You Can Afford It, You Should Buy a 12-String Guitar. Is the name of that video. I believe it's the last video I've posted. And that video was recorded with this camera. Now, yeah, I edited it on the laptop, but all I do for editing, because I don't know about manipulating sound and whatever else, I use the editing to be able to remove... Oh, you probably haven't noticed this, but I can be a little talkative. And so I go back and I remove some of that. But the on-off is right here. That little light comes on. Now here's the photo of your viewfinder. See if I can get this there. Right. Zoom it in on you. Hey, y'all. And these, to explain these a little more, these are real simple to use, all the buttons and everything. But now, the buttons brings me to one of the issues. Of course, the main issue is I wish it had a viewfinder up front, but I have found a way to deal with that. For me, this little deal right here, this little pad, this is your thumb pad. And you will want to get very familiar with your thumb pad. Because I have a bad habit of going to pick this thing up and just grab it. I got to grab up here, and if I'm not careful, there's this button up here in the upper right. Let's see here, there. This one little button right here is the button that takes you to your files that you've already recorded. And you can simply mash that and turn the camera on without turning the on-off button. Which I suppose for convenience sake is pretty nice. But for me, the issue with that is I'm afraid once I've done that, if I'm not careful and hit something else, I'm going to be deleting files. And so I'd rather that not be there, because I'm kind of old school. I'd rather be turn it on off. But again, it's not something to the benefits of the camera outweigh what I consider disabilities. So the main issue, again, like I said, there's no forward facing viewfinder, and the only other, which I wouldn't necessarily call an issue, but I wish that it would stay on until I choose to turn it off, even if that means draining the batteries. But if you don't have any activity, like now, so the light is flashing, can you see the here? And in a couple seconds, it'll just go out completely because I haven't done anything with it. But another thing I like about it, which at first I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure how well this is gonna work. And let's see here. There we go. My lens cap. Instead of having like an internal battery that you just simply charge, it runs on AA's. 4 AA's. And at first I was like, I don't know, but in the end I really wanted the camera. I like the way the flash works. Just everything about this camera, I really do. I think it's very well thought out. Again, I just wish that they'd have put a hinge right here to be able to move your viewfinder forward facing. But how I was going to bring that to your attention. What I do is I have the mama's mirror right here, and I've got one in the van. And I'll set this somewhere, usually on. I don't have a tripod yet, and I know I'll be doing that. And when I do get to the point of a tripod, then I'll have to reconfigure how I'm going to do this. But I use this mirror, I stand it up at an angle right there looking at the back of the camera, and off to one side though, so that I can see the viewfinder from in front, and I can tell if I'm centered in the frame or not necessarily centered left and right, but centered top to bottom. So that's how I've resolved that issue. And the batteries, which I thought was going to be an issue for me, pop that dude open there, and it turns out I think it's actually a really good idea. 4 AA's. Right, is we went out and bought this little deal. It's made by Energizer. It has the 4 AA Energizer batteries already in it, as well as the charger, which has a little deal. You just fold it open and plug it into the outlet. When you're done with it, you take it out and fold it back. And because of that, now instead of having to keep buying batteries every single time, because we've had this issue with the batteries that Elaine's camera uses. Hers is just a regular camera. I don't think, is your camera a video camera, honey? I don't remember. I think maybe it does, but it's a lot smaller than this, and it takes good cameras though. But the hi Shelby. But the thing is, with her camera, we were going through batteries like crazy. And I think what it is that the batteries they don't put as much of a jolt into them anymore. They don't have as much, I guess what you would say is amp hours or milliamp hours or whatever it is, that they don't last as long because there's not as much. You're not starting off with a full tank to begin with, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So, now we've got the charger. You put the batteries in, plug it in. It's got a large light on it it's red that lets you know it's charging. When it turns green, your batteries are fully charged. Eventually, if the batteries get where they won't hold a charge anymore, when you plug it in, the red light will flash, lets you know one or more of the batteries are bad. And so that will, because I have a small power inverter, in fact, right here, that I keep with me in the truck. And so with this little dude right here, it runs the laptop. It charges my cell phone, which I, of course, have cell phone charger in the cigarette lighter portion of the truck. But if for whatever the reason I don't have that, I can do this. And that would give me the ability to plug in the battery charger we just bought. In fact, we decided, because that's so convenient, and of course our battery clocks that we have here, they run AA's, and the same issue. They're constantly having to have batteries replaced. So we've decided to get another one of these. Anyway, it was $17 and some change at Best Buy. And so under $20 to get. And the other thing, we saw one that was like, I don't know, 40, 50 bucks or more. And it was the charger without the batteries. So then you still have to buy the batteries. When you're done, you're probably going to be up around $100. And so this comes with the 4 batteries and the charger for less than 20 bucks. And so that was a good deal. But, and not telling you what to do, not telling you how to think, but if you were asking me if I regret this purchase, no, I don't. I love the camera. I love the quality of the video footage. I love the stereo mics. I love the stereo mics. Like I said, the guitar video that I'm talking about, done in this room, if you'll watch that and listen to that, that's got such a clear sound to it. And that just really amazes me that the stereo mics, plus not just the fact that they're stereo mics, but if you look at how they're built into this, they're kind of almost hidden. Let me see, I've lost, there we go. We got 3 of them right there. And up in the, I guess I need to just zoom in and there. There's 3 of them there, and 3 more on the exact same place on the other side. If I can get this with the lights not blinding. There we go. 3 more. All right. And you would think from being 3 and 4 feet away that they're not going to be very good at all. And an external mic might be exactly the thing. There goes Buddy the Wonder Dog. The mama's up having a cigarette. Aren't you? She'll get up. Now we smoke only in certain rooms. Well, she smokes in only certain rooms of the house because I'm a non-smoker. When a cute little story, I moved up here 5 years ago on January 29th, and it was freezing cold. And the first thing she does is after we sit there and talk for a little while, and we've been talking for months, all day and all night long, damn near. And I need to stop the cussing. I'm trying to remove the cussing from my life. But anyhow, there's children watch YouTube, so I need to clean up my act, basically. But she goes outside, and the back porch is now enclosed. I did that so that we have some critters indoors and some critters outdoors. 3 of the cats and Buddy the Wonder Dog are outdoors. 2 of the cats and Shelby are indoors. Of course, Shelby's on the road with me whenever I'm away from home. But the back porch is now enclosed and heated. But at that time, it was still wide open with nothing but a door facing the north to block the north wind in the wintertime. And then in the summertime, open it up, a nice breeze coming through. So she's standing out there like this in her house coat, having a cigarette. And I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Well, I'm having a smoke." I said, "Well, I see that." I said, "But why are you outside having a smoke?" And she said, "Well, because you're a non-smoker." And at that time, I had moved up here from San Antonio, Texas. And I said, "Well, let me tell you how this goes." I said, "Had you moved down to be with me, a non-smoker, and I was a smoker, and you'd say, well, you know what? I'm a non-smoker. You're going to have to go outside to smoke. You know how hot it gets in San Antonio in the summertime?" I'd be like, "Ain't happening, sister." You know, if that's what you require of me, you came a long way. What was it? Old Randy Travis song. You've come a long way going the wrong way. You know, and so I said, "Get back in the house." And so she, "Well, I don't want you to be, you know, offend you with smoking and stuff." I said, "Look, it don't offend me. Yeah, I don't think it's the most pleasant smell in the world, but I said we come to some kind of conclusion about having smoking zones and no smoking zones." So I had repainted the entire living room, and I take hot showers now. I take real hot showers. I come out as red as a tomato, and when I open the door for the shower is in the hall bathroom, or what some people would call the guest bathroom, and then Elaine's bathroom off the master bedroom has a large garden tub in it. So she'll bathe back there. I'll shower out here. And when I open the bathroom door, all that steam comes up the hallway and then goes off into the living room. And what was happening was from the nicotine, of course, sticks to everything. That's why houses that people have smoked, their ceilings turn beige and brown after a while. It was taking that nicotine, it was running down the walls and dragging the nicotine with it. And one day I looked, and I was like, "Man, I just painted this room. What the heck?" It took a minute to figure out what it was. So we've determined that the living room has to be a no smoking room. Because of what cigarette smoke does to electronics, this room is a no smoking room because of the computer and the printer and what have you ever else. We have another room where I play guitar. That's a no smoking room. And oh, are you getting ready to go? Okay. And now the kitchen, our bedroom, and her bathroom are smoking zones. So, well, Miss Elegant Homestead, you have a very nice evening. Get you some rest, and we will see you when we see you. Meanwhile, we have someone else who's I've been so gabbing, like just carried on, and is it the same person? I wonder all the time. That all my live chats lately, there's always one person more than the amount of people that I see checking in. So there's always this one person. Hey Tam, how you doing? I was like, man, who is this? Here lately, all my chats, I've had one person who doesn't say anything. They just kind of check in. So I saw you were live the other day, but I didn't get to see it. And I've been doing a lot of traveling to and from, so a lot going on. So. So what, and to quote George Strait, I'm a big, huge George Strait fan. I listen to rock, country, and everything. But to quote George Strait, what's going on in your world? So how's it going? So, we were talking with Elegant Homestead about a little bit of everything, honestly. I read tonight, doing a review of the book, The 100 Best Poems of All Time. And this, what I'm trying to do with the Mike at Midnight thing is poetry, proverbs, wisdom, a little bit of wit thrown in there to keep things interesting. And, of course, to try to keep from violating any copyright laws. I'm not trying to just read an entire book and then people don't have a reason to buy it themselves. So I take literature that I find interesting, and, of course, I go through it a little bit before I ever present any of it. basically, if it's something that I wouldn't buy, I'm not going to review it at all. And so if I review it, it's probably something worth reading. Down to so, yeah, same different day. I can relate to that. So and then after I read there, I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know. And I've seen her in other chats, other people's live chats, but I don't know what her name is. You know. But anyhow, the Desmond's Donders, you know, that's David, and Floral Jungle is Dee Dee. You know, there's some of these others who I know, but I am not sure what Miss Elegant Homestead, what her name is. So even like Smallwood Homestead is Gypsy. So, but the she was said she is interested in and I had just basically shown that this is my birthday present. Miss Elaine bought me, the mama, bought me a new camera for my birthday, and so she said she was interested. So I didn't really do a review. I suppose I should do that. I should maybe just mess around with this a little more so I can do an accurate review. Instead of say, well, I can only review this because I've only messed with these certain buttons, which is about right now how it is. So I suppose I should get myself a little more familiar or acquainted with it and get down to exactly what it will or won't do. And then do a, that's not a bad idea. And do a review video of it. So, but anyhow, so what in the world's going on, man? Yeah, it is. It's got the large lens on it, you know, so it captures a lot of light, and of course, any kind of videography or photography that you do, light has a lot to do with the actual finished image. Even now, where we're at, because of the amount of light I have turned on, if I start turning lights off, this suddenly doesn't have near the well, I'm wrong way here. There. Suddenly, it's kind of ho-hum video, you know. Still not a bad image, okay, but the light makes a big difference. And what we're actually looking at right now, this is I guess it would be considered the rearward facing camera, the one that faces forward while you're looking at the viewfinder on your smartphone. That one on the other side, on the back side of the phone, is technically the forward-facing camera. And then your camera that's hidden behind the glass lens of your smartphone is your rearward-facing camera. Of course, your forward-facing camera is a better quality lens than the rearward. And thus my point that this still doesn't look bad just because I've got some good lighting around me. You know, I've got one behind me on my right to chase shadows, one on my left. That's my dad's old reading lamp right there when he was alive. And so I've got those two on either side of me, chase shadows from behind me, plus the two in front of me. That the one here that I use a lot on the desk is basically to help me see the keys on the laptop. And if I ever get a computer, a newer computer, because this one is 10, 11 years old, I'm going to get one of those that the keyboard lights up. I know that'll involve draining the battery more quickly if you're not plugged in. But I never thought how important that would ever be until I got in a situation here where there's not enough light, and the light up keyboard would be a big plus in my life. But and then the other one's just one of those with the 3 miniature bulbs. That's what actually makes most of the light in here. And I've got the light on the ceiling fan up above. But yeah, we try to do a little bit of quality video productions around here. The mama's just only recently started her channel, and I guess she was the last couple of weeks she was in another part of Arkansas, not far from here, about an hour away, and she was helping to take care of an elderly friend of ours. And so anyway, she was messing around with her phone trying to see what she can and cannot do in video mode, and she was going to make her very first video to present on YouTube, because right now if you go to her channel, it's basically sharing videos from my channel, and I think that's about it. And so she was going to make this video. These people live out in the country, and they have their own chickens that have they have country eggs and everything. So she takes her video, and I guess one of the first things she did was go from here to there. and then when she was all said and done, and of course after that come back to here again. And when she was done, I guess went to watch the finished product and started getting dizzy and says, "Oh, I can't post that." So she told me we were talking on the phone because I'm an over the road trucker. I'm rarely home. And so she's like, "Well, I learned something today." I said, "What's that?" She's, I learned that I need to learn how to pan from one position to the other slowly." And which I shouldn't laugh at. I'm not laughing at her as much as laughing with her because I learned that same lesson the same way years and years ago. And I had my brother-in-law's video camera, and we were doing a kind of a family video thing one day. And afterwards, you could tell when Pete was holding the camera and when I was, because when Pete would hold the camera, it would pan nice and slow. When I'd hold the camera, the whole world, it'd be like watching Batman. Remember the Batman cartoon? And they would literally just kind of go around in a circle once and then stop at a new point. And that's how it looks whenever I was filming. So, yeah. Well, and that's what it's all about. Do you watch any of the van life channels? Have you ever watched Chrome Valdez? His channel is called Van City, one word, and then Van Life, one word. And if you watch back, because he has, I'm not hundreds of videos. And he didn't start out filming every day. I think he's filming maybe 2-3 times a week, but now he posts the video almost every day. And yeah, I do the same thing. You can tell, and I'm trying to get that where I can, when I do my editing, all the stuff that I remove where it's not so obvious that the video jumps. My problem is a lot of the videos I'm doing, I'm either speaking or preparing to sing or something, that I need to learn to leave a amount of space from when I finish one sentence or thought to where I start another, so that then when I go to edit out, it's not as obvious that my sentences are kind of cut real short because of that editing. And then I also need to be sitting still in between each of these thoughts so that when I edit it, you'll notice a little flicker, but it won't be so obvious where like one I was with the guitar like this, and then all of a sudden the whole guitar just disappears from the picture and I'm over here like this. And so I need to work on that some. Well, I mean, but the thing I was about to say though about Chrome, if you was to see his videos from when he first started his channel compared to his videos now, about a year and a half, not a little more than a year, not quite a year and a half yet, but a little more than a year later, the quality level of just the content and the videography, the filming of his videos, if you want to say, I mean, there's no film involved, but anyway, because he's the same thing he's got an iPhone, and just in that. And also learning more about editing and filmmaking processes in the editing area of it, that the overall finished product of his videos has improved 100-fold. And I think any one of us, if we put that effort into learning, that be the same thing. All of our videos will get better. I'm a little outspoken with my thoughts and beliefs, and that causes some issues some days. So no matter how good my videos ever get, there will always be people who decide, hey, I'm not going to follow that guy anymore. Oh, well. The thing is, I believe that my channel, I had a guy actually curse me because I was talking in one of my guitar videos about the fuel mileage of the truck that I'm in. And the particular video was a song called In Time by Mark Colley. And what I do is I put my videos up with the chords on screen. I'm not trying to say, hey, check me out, I'm a great entertainer. I'm not a great entertainer. That's why I play in bars. People are slightly inebriated. But you can be average and still come across as being all that in a bag of chips. So, but the guy cussed me. He wouldn't cuss me like you're an effing jerk or nothing like that, but still, my channel it's called One Mic to Live. It used to be called Interstate Cowboy because that's my CB handle, and prior to that it was just my name. And I thought, no, yeah, it is. It's about me per se, but it's like watching the Trick My Truck years ago, or Ice Road Truckers, or that guy Jamie, whatever his name is, that does the with the tow trucks in Canada, Highway Through Hell. Um, there's other people who are interested in that also, even though it's not their specific life. So, but he says, and he actually didn't just say effing, he actually spelt the whole word out. Why are you talking about effing trucks in a guitar video? And I was like, really? So, and I'm the kind of person where what you give me is what I'm going to give back. So I said, well, and I said, because it's not a effing guitar video. It's a video about my life in the truck where I happen to be presenting these guitar videos. And the well, and I guess that's what started with me trucking years ago. Anyway, I was watch all the BJ and the Bear and the TV show Moving On, of course the movie Convoy, and a lot of that kind of thing, and a lot of the music, country music years ago had a lot about trucking. So as a kid, if it, and to this day, if it runs on diesel, I want to know about it. I'm all trains, towboats, big trucks, equipment. If it runs on bulldozers, whatever. If it runs on, hey Shelby. If it runs on diesel, I want to know about it. But anyway, so he was getting all belligerent, and then I had responded, and he got more belligerent. As now, does that answer your effing question? And he's actually, no, it don't. And he got more. Well, and that's the thing. I told the guys, well, apparently, however you came across that video, because it has gotten a lot of views. My other videos haven't quite gotten as near as many views as that one did. Apparently, a lot of people saw the movie The Punisher and are wanting to learn how to play that song on guitar. So I said, but apparently you didn't see the description in my channel, because first off, the channel name is One Mic to Live. Not one guitar to live, not one big truck to live, not even one van life to live. One mic to live. And people are, oh, apparently I'm supposed to have 3 channels. I'm supposed to have a channel for nothing but van life situations. I'm supposed to have a channel for nothing but trucking situations. And I'm supposed to have a channel for nothing but guitar situations. And I just don't see that as being practical, So it's about my life, which is these 3 things and then some. And which means I can post a video about whatever I feel in the mood to do so. And if it's something people are interested, cool. If not, they can always just pass on by and come back another day and see a different video that they might be interested in. But, and I get it that that's going to cause issues with my channel growth. It won't grow as fast because it's not about just one thing. But think about it in life, okay? Most people stop to eat at McDonald's from time to time. But every now and then, you might eat at Arby's instead. Shame on you for not staying true to just one type of restaurant. Same theory. We have all kinds of different things going on in our life. And, yeah. And, well, hence the name of your channel. Your world, your rules, right? So, I always try to present content that I think somebody out there might be interested in. I told the mama, and she's taking the dog out for a walk right now. But I told the mama, I said that these nights that I've started doing this, and I'm going to try to do it every night, although I know some nights I won't be able to, but most nights, the Mike at Midnight thing, which midnight Central Time, I live in the Central Time Zone, so no matter where I'm at trucking, I could be anywhere in the country, Mike at Midnight will still be midnight Central Time. And on Sunday night, those lives I do on Sunday night are generally around 6 p.m. I've been trying to move that time around, so I'm trying to not interrupt other people's live streams in the process. And because everybody that I interact with, we're all kind of, we're witchy and wherever else, we're all in these little tight little group. But I try to present stuff that I think people be interested in. And even if nobody shows, if my wife was tired, have a headache, whatever, decide to go to sleep, and I'd come on here tonight, and let's say that was 0. There was not a single person stopped by. I'd still go ahead and do this. Of course, without having anybody interact with, it would be simply whatever the reading is for tonight, my thoughts on that, maybe a little bit. and then say, okay, so y'all see you later, bye. It'd be 30 minutes instead of an hour and 30 minutes. But just the idea being that, sooner or later, somebody's going to wander across it and find it interesting. You know, if nobody does, well, okay. It's not costing me anything to post it to YouTube. So, on to, what do they say, back to the drawing board. And that's the thing is, I've been watching lately. I don't know if you know who Nick Nimmin is, and Brian G. Johnson. Some of these others of trying to learn more about what does and doesn't work as a YouTube creator for the express purpose of channel growth. And one thing that really bothers me, especially with if I'm at a chat room like either Witchy's chat room, Witch on Wheels, or Mike Millen, chilling with Millen, and his live at 6:05 live streams in the mornings, Monday through Friday. And we all do this, we try to capture everybody. A lot of times, I'll notice when I'll be doing one of my Sunday night live streams, someone will be like, "Hey, now check out so and so." There might be somebody new, and so one of the other people who comes by every week will remind everybody else, "Hey, check out this person's channel," or whatever. Try to help promote each other, help each other to grow. And so I've been more of following these lately, trying to learn from others' mistakes to keep from making those same mistakes myself, or mistakes I'm already making, and learn so I know, oh, I need to correct that then, so that my channel will become more quality oriented and be something that I will grow to larger numbers. So, but let's see. Hang on, I just missed something here. Let's see. Well, yeah, true. The idea is I try to post something as frequently as I can, because one of the people I had seen wasn't even one of these guys about how to grow your channel. This guy it was a van life video, and one of the people who were interviewing this guy, his van was probably one of the more trying to think what the word would be. It didn't have as much stuff in it. Had a couple small cabinets in it, but it wasn't full of cabinets and the big, RV refrigerator and stand-up shower and all. In fact, his wasn't even a Sprinter. It wasn't no high top. But the guy who was interviewing this fella asked him, "How is it your channel has grown so well? What can you tell other people that might help them to grow their channels as well?" And he said to keep on hitting the upload button. Keep uploading videos. More than anything else, the most important thing that we can do as channel creators is to keep producing new content. People keep coming back wanting to see something new. If the same thumbnail they saw last time and the time before that and the time before that is the only thing they keep seeing, eventually they'll stop coming back to check for more. They'll still probably keep you on their notifications, and then when you finally do post something again, but eventually they might get to the point where they don't even bother checking that. So, but yeah, that's the one most important thing. And these others, like I said, Brian G. Johnson and Nick Nimmin, and there's been a few others too. I just can't recall their names off the top of my head. The one I watch most is Nick Nimmin and Brian G. Johnson. So of course, those are the two that their names come to mind freshly. But the main thing is that I've learned, and I've noticed other people doing this, especially when I'm at these other channels watch one of their live streams, is all of a sudden there will be people who they go to check out your channel, and I do this. How I came across your channel, they'll check out the channel and say, "Hey, this person's got some interesting stuff. I'll go ahead, subscribe, and click the bell." But then what they do is they come back into the chat room and say, "Hey, one mic to live. I got you," which I didn't understand that. The first time someone ever did that, I was like, "Yeah, I get that." Like, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying. And then finally I realized a couple different times I hadn't said much of anything. I was like, what are they referring to? Which, of course, in the end, we all know, "I got you" means sub for sub. And what they're basically saying is, hey, I've subscribed to your channel. Now you better subscribe to mine. And I'm not saying I will or I won't, as much as what I'm saying is at some point within the following 5-6 days, based on how busy I am when I'm on the road, I intend on going to their channels. I don't do it right there because, one, there's so many people. It takes too much time. I'm not just going to go to the channel and click the subscribe button. Because, like, a lot of these food channels, I'm not interested. I'm sorry. I don't cook. Therefore, if every video someone has is about how to cook and prepare food, I don't see the sense in it. I have more notifications than I can keep up with as it is. Why would I want to subscribe to another channel and thus start getting their notifications too? Even if I don't click the bell, I'm still going to get some. So, yeah, and that's what I've been doing lately. Mike Brown and I were talking about this last night before my battery went dead. That going through and starting to realize, and here's what it comes down to. I've got so many notifications. There's some that when they come up, I'm like, nah. This person really, I'm not really needing to. I never really follow that much of their stuff, and if that's the case, why do I even bother keeping them notifying me at all? So, but yeah, the food channels, nah. So what happens? I go to these chats, and while I'm someone's live stream, and I'm not there to promote myself. Every now and then on Witchy's channel, Witch on Wheels, I'll one of the other people that are in Chrome's chat room that I've befriended, I'll say, hey, don't forget my live stream tonight, or don't forget my live stream this upcoming Sunday, or something of that. 6 p.m. Central Time, y'all be there. But that's it. I don't go up there every single like Witchy. Witchy puts up a chat sometimes twice a day. I don't try to make sure I always show up there and promote myself. That's not what I'm about. I'm there to chat. You know, that's it. Most times I don't even make any mention of what I got going on my channel. But what happens is whenever these are done, and well, I agree, but whenever the chat is over, I'll notice, you know, because I got the YouTube studio, personal studio creator, whatever it's called, it will be notifying me that I have new subscribers. Okay, cool. But right now the chat's over with, which usually I'm trucking. And especially Mike Millen and Witch on Wheels, when they do their chats kind of about the same time every day, I'm usually trucking and my phone goes off to let me know so-and-so just went live. I'm about due for a break, and I can take my break anywhere I want. But I'm about due for a break anyway, so I'll pull off the road, go ahead. And that's why rarely do I ever get to be one of the first people to sign in and say, hey, you know, usually the chat's already been going for about a half hour or more by the time I usually get into it. Because I got to find somewhere to park. And being 72 feet long, that has its issues. So the thing is, though, that after that chat is over with, and I've gotten anywhere from 4 to 1 time 7 subscribers, new subscribers, all during that chat, visiting somewhere else. And not, like I said, not promoting myself, just being social and whatever else. And all of a sudden I got all these subscribers. And then within 2 hours of that chat, every one of them, or almost all but one of them, will have just decided, hey, this guy ain't going to sub back, then I'm going to unsubscribe, which is fine. That's okay. I'm okay with that. But the thing of it is, why even bother? Why do they even bother, you know? And what they don't understand is because of my job, it's not that I'm not going to subscribe, but I want to make sure that whatever they're about, that I like their content. If I don't like their content, imagine if some guy was a redneck and his idea of humor is to humiliate and embarrass his wife. Who wants to see that kind of stuff? I sure don't. So even if the guy subscribed to me, great. Stick around if you want, but I'm not subscribing back. The thing of it is, it might be 3 to 4 days, 5 days before I can do that. And because I'm not doing the sub for sub thing, they're just going to unsubscribe. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But the thing of it is, but they don't, and I think the people who do that, they look at YouTube as if it's just another social media platform like you know, Facebook, MySpace, whatever else is out there, Tumblr, Twitter. You know, your popularity is based by how many followers you have, how many subscribers you have, how many quote unquote friends. You know, Facebook, which I don't do Facebook. I've never, I don't think I've ever deactivated my profile, but I haven't been on it since the missus and I got married. we started a couple's profile for a little while because I can be a little outspoken with my beliefs. That caused a lot of drama because apparently in this world you're only allowed to speak out your beliefs if your beliefs are in line with someone else's. So if your audience don't like it, then you keep your opinions to yourself. Oh, excuse me. And so anyways, I just decided not to have nothing to do with it no more. But people are looking at it like that, and what they don't get is it doesn't matter how you can have 1 million subscribers. I'm not sure what channel has the most subscribers on YouTube. It might be 5, it might be 50 million, it might be 100 million, I don't know. But whatever it is, they didn't get there by simply drawing in the numbers. You have to have something to draw those people in to begin with, and that's your content. And what people don't understand is the subscribers doesn't mean anything if you don't have views. Well, you got to have 1,000, I think, to be considered for monetization. You have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 views or something like that. I forget what it is, but yeah, you got to have a lot. And so, well, I don't use it for business either at this point in time. Now, I don't, like I said, I have an Instagram account. I haven't been on it in a while. I've got a Twitter account. I haven't been on it in a while. And I have Twitter or Tumblr set up how most people do or say I should be doing YouTube. One for trucking, one for guitar, one for van life. So I have more than one Tumblr account based on what that Tumblr account is about. But I don't, like, you go down below and check out my Twitter account, check out my Instagram account. I don't do all that. At some point in time, my intentions are to become monetized, but at this point in time, no. I don't see it as being necessary. I know that I consider myself the average Joe. And if I'm the average Joe, then that means all the other average Joes are treating YouTube pretty much the same way I do. And what that means, there's a video I found, again, about Chrome Valdez. There's a video I found with Chrome and another guy, I can't remember the guy's name, and this guy's interviewing Chrome. Now, I've seen Chrome being viewed by Forrest Stevens and a few others, but this guy, there's like 9 commercials in this video. Right? You know, along your little timeline down here, whatever you want to call it, where it turns red as your video viewing continues. The closer you get to the end of the video, the longer that red line gets. Every now and then there'll be a little white dot or yellow dot in there, and each of those dots are a commercial. And this guy's got 9 commercials. Yeah, 4,000 hours of watch time. This guy's got 9 commercials in this video because he's monetized. And obviously, the more views the commercials get, the more money he makes. But you only make the money, one, if your viewer watches the whole commercial. I don't think you make any money off of it if they wait until it says you can skip this commercial in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and then they skip it. I don't think you make anything. And even if you do it, you're not going to make as much of that as you do if I watch the full commercial. But also, you don't get a view unless... I've heard some people say 2 minutes. I've heard some people say, no, it has to be like 70% of the video. Whatever it is, I have to stick around for my time on that video to be counted as a complete view. So if I get there and I see all these little dots down here telling me commercial, and I'm like, well, whatever. And I'm a big, huge fan of Chrome. I've been following him now for about the entire time of his channel. And he was like 1,200 viewers when I started following him. And now, or subscribers, about 1,200 subscribers. And now he's over 28,000. So, but this video with this guy, it wasn't Chrome's video. It was the other guy's video interviewing Chrome. But nonetheless, Chrome posted it because it's about himself. But when I got to it, I was just like, oh, man, no. First off, if someone's that greedy or trying to become something more in less amount of time, to me, that's not the way to do it. So I don't want to help to assist them in that anyway. But I'm just not that patient to watch all these commercials. So the idea, if I ever do become monetized, is to still not have any more commercials than I might find at maybe one, or if God forbid necessary, two, but short commercials that would be more like towards the end of the video, not toward the beginning. That way, if somebody does decide, oh, commercial, I'm out of here, they've watched long enough that it still counts as a view. Whereas everybody else, they've got the commercial right there at the very beginning, and then every so often they'll be, and depending on how many commercials they have, depends on how close or how far apart those commercials are. And but no, this is a kind of a, I don't want to say a love affair with trucking, or a love affair with van life, or with guitar music. I like what I'm doing. I like when I'm playing guitar. All my guitar videos, I'll play the whole video through, go back and try to edit out as much of this as I can, and then right above the headstock somewhere, depending on, like here, this light is going to cause issues, so I'd probably put it further over there. Right? But somewhere, or maybe right above here, I will put the chords a split second before you actually need to make the chord change, so that whoever the viewer is can follow this by watching and know, oh crap, C, and make that C, or G chord, so that by the time they see it, it's like a red light. You don't hit the brake pedal right when the light turns red. The light turns red, your brain connects with that, what happened, and then it tells your foot, lift up and hit this pedal over here. So there's 3/4 of a second or more involved in that. And so I do the thing with the chords the same way, so that by the time their brain recognizes, okay, there's another chord change coming up, that they can still follow along instead of getting behind by my not putting the chord up until it actually takes place. So I do the split second before, and it's a lot of work in that. It's probably the complete edit of, not just the edit, not the filming of the video, just the edit. Any one of these that you see I've got that playlist is called Easy Songs for Guitar. About 4 hours just to do the edit. Now, yes, part of that isn't because the editing is such a painstaking process. Part of that is because our computer is old and we don't even have internet, so it's not like we have viruses or anything. It's just that it gets to the point where after a while, when I'm doing video editing, you can hear the fans kicking in. Sure enough, put your hand back here and it starts getting hot. And of course, you know, most laptops sit real close to the desk anyway, so I've got a couple bottle tops under there to let it get a little more air. But yeah, and it's time consuming. See, I've never done that with the lyric videos. I think that's interesting though. For people who want to, like, for example, some songs you're not sure what the words are, and so therefore you sing what you think the words are. And here lately, I'm 56 years old, and I'm still listening to classic rock stuff, singing that what I always thought it was. And I've been seeing some of these lyric videos like what you're talking about, when I'm like, oh, that's not what I thought it was. So, but I know that a lot of people, I've had this situation in my life where every now and then a kid, teenager, anywhere from 10 years old on up to 17, somehow is brought across my path and is made known to me that this kid wishes he had a guitar so that he or she could learn how to play guitar. And I'm like, So I give them, at that time, I've always had just one guitar at a time. I have a couple more than that now. But I'll just give it to them. No questions asked. Tell you what, this one I said, you tell your mom to bring you back up here again tomorrow, and I'll let you have the guitar I have. Because I ain't giving you the guitar away until I have another one to replace it. Comes down to. So I give him this guitar, and I told him the secret to learning to play guitar is getting past the blisters. Get to the point where those blisters become calluses. If you can get past the pain of that, everything else is downhill. You know, A lot of people would get to that like, oh man, that hurts, especially on the E and the B string. As skinny as they are, it feels like a razor blade cutting right through that, you know. So I tell them that there, and take lessons by all means. Learn to read music, learn scales, learn where the notes correspond on the fretboard and whatever else. But meanwhile, while you're taking lessons, it's kind of dry. You know, it doesn't go fast enough. And all the while, all you're wanting to do is learn how to play one of your favorite songs. And that's what these people who teach music don't understand is that, well, so, you know, all the more reason you should be following my guitar playlist. They want to play one of their favorite songs. But the teacher is like, no, we got to learn music theory first and what have you. So I got you. Well, the Walmart and Target and stores like that, a lot of times they have those posters, you know, for kids, whatever the current movie is out. And usually in there's at least one that'll have all the major and minor chords and the finger positions and all. That's what this is called. It's easy songs for guitar. Is if you can make these particular chords, you can play this song. You know, and honestly, that's where I try to, the first 3 frets, first 3 to 4, that's where I try to stay. The idea is to teach people. I'm not trying to necessarily teach people. I don't think I'm a great teacher. But the idea is to bring the knowledge of a lot of this music to people that, hey, you can play this. I've had people tell me, well, I know some chords and stuff, but I don't know, you know, which chords make up which songs, that if I listen to the song on the radio, I just can't go, oh, that's a C chord right there, and start playing along. Although I will admit, the one I just recently did was Angie by the Rolling Stones. And that one I did. I actually was able to pick the chords out from listening to it and say, okay, that's this, and that's this, and that's that. And play that. For years, I was able to play just the introduction. And only recently did I finally finish that up. So, but see, those are all major chords right there. With those chords right there, you can play half of every rock song half of every rock song, and probably 3/4 of every country song ever written. I'm no lie. The thing too is some minor chords. For example, your C chord, 2nd string, 1st fret, 4th string, 2nd fret, and 3rd string, or 5th string, 3rd fret, and of course that makes your C chord. Which, if you did this right now with a guitar, it wouldn't sound the same. I have this guitar tuned down a step. Instead of having it tuned to, you know, E to E, I've got it D to D. So everything's a whole note down. But with the capo on the 2nd fret, it is now back to standard 440 tuning. So now it's a C chord. Right there's a C chord. Right. You take your ring finger from the 3rd fret and bring it right below your middle finger on the 2nd fret, and now it's an A minor. Almost the same. And with that there, when you learn these little bits of pieces that, oh wow, I can make that, that's real simple. Or even some stuff like the Eagles. I love a lot of the Eagles stuff. Oh, so I can't play by ear at all. There's one of the chords that come across a lot of the different songs I play is an A minor 7th. That's Alabama. My home's in Alabama. A minor 7th and a D. Well, the A minor 7th is actually played with your pinky finger down here, like so. It's an A minor with the pinky finger installed. See, I can't stretch I'm not Chad Kroger. I can't stretch my fingers out. And it turns out I'm not the only one who has that problem. Wow, really? Well, I'll be 50. Well, I just turned 56 here last week. But my first guitar, I was in the 8th grade. I got my first guitar. I lost interest in it and didn't pick one up for 20 years. And that's why I'm not as far ahead as I'd like to be now. But I found out what the Eagles do, and even Led Zeppelin in the song Stairway to Heaven, they don't play it like, there's my A minor 7th. But their A minor 7th is this. Not a whole lot different. And just so they can go from there to the D7. So it's interesting how the shortcuts, I guess you might call them, that they take in some of these. But the idea is, and I'm not trying to teach people shortcuts. That's not it at all. I'm presenting songs that have easy enough chords that even someone who can't play a lick, but they know a few chords, they just don't know what to do with them, can pick their guitar up and start playing some of these songs. Now, I will admit, there's some of them like Bob Seger, Turn the Page, Marshall Tucker, Can't You See? There's a few of them that I can't hardly get vocally. As I've gotten older, my voice has gotten deeper, and I can't hit the high notes anymore. So I take my guitar and I have it tuned to step down, a whole note, 2 semitones. And that way it makes it a little more, someone coming to visit, my nose itching like crazy. It makes it a little easier for me to sing those higher notes because now they're a step down also. The only problem is some of the videos that I present so that people can find the rhythm by following along with my singing, my attempt to sing. Whenever I'm using a drop-tuned guitar, they either have to drop-tune their guitar also, or they have to mute the volume so they can follow along with nothing but the chords on the screen. And that kind of defeats the purpose, because part of knowing when to switch chords isn't just seeing the chord on the screen, but knowing which drum pattern to be following along with while the song's being played. You got to listen to it. So, but the idea is so that people who are wanting to learn guitar won't become they won't feel like it's not progressing fast enough for them. You know, we live in an I want it now society. You start taking lessons this week, and next week you want to be a rock god. Not you per se, but I'm saying people. Our mentality. I grew up in an era where, which you might remember this too. You know, you're a little younger than me, not a whole lot. That you would order something from the Sears and Roebuck catalog and wait 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. Now I got FedEx and UPS, next day air, and sometimes that's not fast enough. So the mentality of the world has changed. But I think most people, there might be a few that just don't get it, but I think most people can. In fact, I've heard this, I'm not sure how true it is, but I've heard this, that there's a lot of musicians that really, other than knowing a few chords, they can't read music either. You know, and I'm not talking about just like people who want to be, you know, in a band at the local pub on a Friday night. I'm talking about, you know, musicians, people, maybe not Axl Rose per se, because I've seen the man play piano, so obviously he knows how to read music. But there are people though, and household name musicians that supposedly can't read music, but they know a few chords and they can get by. And I don't know, Eddie Van Halen can play now. That dude, ooh man, that man can play. But the yeah, and see, that's funny. The mama don't know how to play music, but yet she owns a guitar. So this very guitar right here is, I call it Mitchell because it was built by the Mitchell Manufacturing Company. And the Eddie Van Halen plays by ear. Okay. The friend of mine named Mitchell, they got killed on a towboat. A terrible accident. And in his remembrance and the fact that it's already branded by the Mitchell Company, I call that guitar. All my guitars have names. And so that's Mitchell. So one night I'm at the Guitar Center in Peoria, Illinois. My son lives up there that way. And we had just come from his house. He lives with his mother. We had just come from there. Decided, let's stop at Guitar Center on our way home. And I'm sitting there just messing around. My mind's already made up. This is $98 used. And I've played it enough. My mind's already made up. I'm buying this guitar. I'm taking it home with me. Whether she was aware of that or not, I'm sure she was. But meanwhile, I'm enjoying myself playing it. So I don't want to just leave and then wait till I get home 4 hours, 5 hours away. I want to play it now. So that's what I'm doing. And meanwhile, she comes, after you've seen any of my videos, there's one that's Poison, Every Rose Has Its Thorn. The guitar in that video is the mama's. Now, I bought it. I had no intention of buying it. But hi, Two Socks. And all the critters come and say hi tonight. But she said, hey, play my song, play my song. In fact, the video I was working on right before this is Robert Plant and the Honey Drippers, The Sea of Love, which is the mama's favoriteest song. So she's like, play my song, play my song. So I was like, okay. So I play the song. Like, this guitar, even if you're not interested in the content that I put up here, check out this video. It's Poison, Every Rose Has Its Thorn. It'll say chords on screen, whatever. The guitar is black, what looks like little gems of it. And it is. It's got rhinestones of some plastic, whatever they are, all over it. Right? It looks like a guitar that's been tattooed, but instead of it being inked, someone went and glued all these little gems on it. Right? That's her guitar. Now, the headstock, instead of being black or some wood grained or whatever, the headstock has been painted white. And it's got gemstones all over it too, with the letter E with like a large pin going right through the top of it. And the E stands for Esteban. That's who manufactured that guitar. And so anyhow, I'm told though that that's not what the E stands for. The E stands for Elaine. So anyway, she said, play this. And, I'm all about earth tones and wood grain and things that are natural. This guitar has been painted like a car. It's got that old style metal flake, the big, large glitter in the paint. And so it's a black finished guitar with all this black, gray, charcoal colored glitter. And it's really sharp looking. I will say that. The back of it has, okay, I've got this little serpent with a dagger. The back of it has this large tattoo of, it's got a rose and whatever on it. It's a humongous, with the name Esteban through it and a ribbon and everything. Really sharp looking guitar. It really is. But not my style. It's like hairband from the 80s, big time. And I do play a lot of 80s music, but I would have never bought the guitar in a million years. Never. Not my style. But the mama loves her bling. And from the jeans she wears, she's got this one sweater. I love this sweater she wears. It's just got all this little shimmer in it. It's real sharp looking. And so that's what caught her eye. Between the glitter and the paint and all the little gems on it and everything, she's like, play my song, play my song. So I figured I'll play her song and she'll put it back. No. Her mind's made up. I need this guitar. $98? $340. Let me think on this for a minute. Everything about this said this is the guitar that's going home with me. And so I was like, and she can tell that I'm kind of him-hawing around because I didn't want the guitar. Didn't want it. It's not my style. And so she says, all right, then buy it for me. You can't play guitar. So at first I thought, well, you teach me how to play. But she's like, no. She said, you just buy that for me, and then you can play, when you come home, play it for me. In fact, I guess I'll have to do that in the morning when we're getting ready to go. We got a road trip we got to take tomorrow. I haven't played for her song this weekend yet, so I need to do that. And that's where you go ahead and say, yeah, you do. But anyhow, so she said, you buy that for me, and you play my song on it, and you can play for me on this guitar, because I've got a handful of guitars, and I swap around whichever I'm in the mood to play from one time to another. So I was like, okay, fine. I said, but I wanted this one. And I can't believe my wife. Now, my wife's not tight or anything like that, I'll play your song for you, baby. And she's not like that, but she is frugal. If it comes down to trying to make money last, my wife can do it. Right? She'll go out and hit these resale shops and come home with like new clothes. And I mean, a bunch. She'll come home with what would be if you went to any other store and bought all the clothes she just came home with. Maybe it would have cost you $100, $200. And she'd be like, hey, check out what I bought for $6. and just she starts modeling everything. You know, it's like, no way, all that for $6? Yeah. So, and I'm proud of her for that. That's a good thing, because if we both was the kind to squander money, we'd always be broke. So, but I couldn't believe my jaw almost hit the floor, because I told her, I said, but I wanted this one, and especially to that other guitar. That other guitar, the only thing I would ever, because I perform live. Not like, yeah, I perform live on YouTube, but I mean, I perform at pubs and taverns and stuff. And I bring more than one guitar, because I use different guitars for different setups and things. But I wouldn't have bought that guitar, because it's only the 80s stuff is about the only thing I'd ever be able to play on it. And so she said, well, then buy them both. But now we're talking $450 plus tax, a guitar case. Of course, the other guitar came with its own case. I had to buy a case for this one. And so we're walking out of Guitar Center, $500, some almost $600. And so, but I was like, okay, that's what she wants. So we believe how, like, Witchy and a lot of people on here will try to help promote people, help each other. Let's keep our little community, so to speak. We'll try to help promote everybody and keep our growth going and things. And we nourish each other, and that's how Elaine and I are. There's times where one or both of us might not be wanting to go the same direction. I want to do this and she wants to do that, but I realize this is really important to her and probably more important to her than it is to me. So I'll say, well, let's just do what you want to do this weekend. We'll do what I want to do next weekend, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, in the end though, that's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to make my channel about any one thing, because I have more than one type of interest. Sometimes I want to eat McDonald's. Sometimes I want to eat Arby's. Sometimes I want, whatever, Waffle House. So I don't want my channel to be just one thing, even if that's what all the pros say it should be. Then I guess I just won't grow as fast as others, because I want it to be the way I have it set up. I do want to try to find a way to remove my list of uploads. I'm not putting anything up here to keep it private. So therefore, I don't need two lists with the same videos on them. Everything I post is going onto a playlist. So yeah, mine's the same way. A little bit of everything. So there's no lie. You want to talk about a cute story? Whenever I'm in Memphis, which the company I work for is in Memphis, Tennessee, about 4-hour drive from where we're at here in the Ozarks. And right now, for example, the fuel pump quit working in my van, and it just wasn't practical. It was cold and raining the other day, so I was like, man, I'll deal with that another day. Plus, I didn't have any way to go get the fuel pump, because I had, van's broke down. I can't drive it to the auto parts store. So whenever Elaine drives 4 hours one way just to come get me, and then drives 4 hours back to bring, she drives both ways. I'll sit in the car and rest. So I figured the least I can do is take her out. Now, Memphis is like any other big city. There's hundreds and hundreds of different kinds of restaurants and ethnic food, whatever you're in the mood for, And so I tell her, wherever she says, well, I'm getting hungry. And she's one of these that if she doesn't eat every so often, she'll start getting a headache. So first thing I always ask her is, have you eaten? And if she has eaten, then I might just grab a hot dog or something at the gas station on the way out of town. But if she hasn't eaten, then we'll go somewhere. We'll get a decent meal somewhere. And I tell her the same thing every time. Anywhere you want. And her reply is the same thing every time. Waffle House. That's not like, well, we hit Waffle House last time. Let's go somewhere else this time. Nope, always Waffle House. So, but Memphis is okay. I lived there for almost 5 years, about 4.5 years. And I'm not gonna lie, I had some good times when I did. But now it's just the crime's so bad there. And in fact, there's security cameras not only in the building that I'm employed in, but even the building next door. And knowing that these people know they're on cameras, because they got the little light flashing on them and whatever. The place next door, it has just a little red steady light, but everyone's going to these blue flashing lights now. Doesn't matter. There goes. And yeah, that video will help you to identify that thief if they ever get caught. If they don't get caught, and of course, which thief thinks they're going to? If they don't ever get caught, you just basically lose your stuff. And so they come in the yard and stealing out trucks all the time. Stealing whatever they can basically take back through the fence with them. The only reason why my boss has a couple large forklifts, outdoor all-wheel drive forklift kind of thing, a Taylor, big red, what they call big red. The only reason why that thing hasn't ever wound up missing yet is because the only way to get it out is you have to open the gate. And they figured for sure they'd get caught then. But yeah, if they can get through the fence with whatever they can take, they'd take it with them. And so they've taken rims, aluminum truck rims. Right now the cost of aluminum's up. So you find an aluminum truck rim that doesn't have a tire on it, there's no cost at all. If it has a tire on it, whether it be a blown tire or a bad tire, got steel sticking out of it, whatever, you still have to pay somebody to have that tire dismounted from the rim. But we got aluminum rims, aluminum fuel tanks that are, trucks that have been parted out and just got all that sitting there. So if a truck ever gets wrecked or God forbid whatever happens, that he has the ability to fix his own trucks instead of buying more stuff and to fix them with. And they take all this, anything they can get, because then, the rims, I think the rims actually have some kind of serial number on them. But let's face it, who's going to go to their car or their pickup truck right now, dismount the tires, and write down the serial numbers just in case the rims ever get stolen? Now, yeah, you might do that if you have these wagon wheels or whatever the people do nowadays. But just the factory rims, the plain old Alcoa aluminum rims you see on all your big rigs, got the little round holes in them every so far. They're a dime a dozen. I mean, yeah, they're worth money, but they're so common that no one's going to bother. There's no way you'd ever be able to identify them if someone else drove right up to your door with them on their own big rig a week later. So yeah, they anything they can do. Same thing at trailers. I worked at a place in the job I had before this one. Aluminum trailers go missing almost on a weekly basis. And that's the whole idea, that they're going to take it probably some barn or garage or underneath a whole bunch of trees where they're out of satellite view, and cut the thing into bunches of little pieces. Because if you bring an entire trailer, 48-foot long trailer, that still looks like it's got a lot of life left in it, made out of aluminum, to a scrapyard, they're going to know it's stolen. But if you cut it up into chunks, and all it would take is probably about $100 worth of grinding wheels and an 8-inch grinder and an electrical source. And it'd probably take about a week get that thing cut up. But yeah, take piece by piece and take it all up in there, and no one will be the wiser. So it's sad that that's what it's become. But it's not just Memphis. All your big cities are like that anymore. So that's why where we live now. The mama was telling me before her and I got married that this actually used to be out in, I know, right? That this actually used to be out in the county. But the city of Melbourne has grown to the point that the city limits have gone, which once upon a time, this was the county and the city limits were between us and the city. But the city has grown to the point that the city limits have now gone past us. And so now we're actually part of the city of Melbourne. But this used to be in front of us. It was a gravel road. And, was everything on well out here, honey? I don't remember that part. But, yeah, this was a country address. And now our frame of mind, most people when they get older, they want to be closer to town. They're closer to the stores, closer to the doctor. Now if anything, we want to get further out into the country. The thing about living in small towns, you always get certain people who they just pop up with the spur of the moment. And, hey, we was in the neighborhood, thought we'd stop by. Well, the farther you live out into the country, the less likely them kind of visits become. Yeah. We had gone one day, we actually got chased off of somebody's property because the person who lived there used to be, we don't like living in the city either. It used to be a woman that Elaine knows lived on this property. And so we're just driving around one day. I've got an old 4-wheel drive truck, old Chevrolet. And we're just driving around in country roads, not in a big hurry. In fact, I don't think we ever took the thing above 30 miles an hour. And this particular road is called Greasy Bottom Road. And it literally goes up and over the ridge of a mountain. And on the other side is this piece of land, and that's where the road literally dead ends in this woman's property. Well, it turns out she don't own that property anymore. Some other guy did, and he got really boisterous with us about getting off his land. So much so to the point that when we got down to the other end of the road, this dude comes up with his pickup truck from a drywall company wanting to see my driver's license. I should have told him to go to hell. Nice guy, but I still should have told him to go to hell. He's not no cop. He don't have no right to see my license. You think I'm up to no good? Call the cops. But anyhow, I'm one of these. I don't want to make any more waves than what I've already done. So what the hell? But it took an hour, I think, every bit of an hour from the time we turned off the highway to get back to that property, and therefore took an hour from the time we left to get back to the highway. That's the kind of place where I want to live. where if there's an emergency, it's going to cost us some big money, but y'all need to send a helicopter. Trust me, we'll be dead by the time the ambulance gets here. And that's the kind of place where I want to live. Way out in the middle of nowhere. Anybody comes by to visit, we tell them you pack a bag because you know you're gonna have to stay the night, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it's nice around here. They call Arkansas the natural state. I moved up here from San Antonio, Texas. The home where I was living was actually in Corinth, Mississippi, which is straight north of Tupelo. But if you remember the movie the original Walking Tall, not the one with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, but the original one with Joe Don Baker and Bo Svensson back in the 70s. Where I was living at in Corinth is right south of Adamsville, Tennessee, and Selmer, Tennessee, where all that went on. And it's nice and scenic over there. Tennessee River's not far away. It's like 20-mile drive from my house to the Tennessee River. And okay, you're near Dallas. I moved up here from San Antonio. I was living in Pleasanton, Texas, and working in Jourdanton, Texas, which is a suburb of San Antonio, so on the south side. But the idea being is, she was going to sell the house, which we are going to put the house in the market when we get done renovations. But she was going to sell the house and move down there with me. And till we would discuss the cost of living down there compared to the cost of living up here. And that made the decision about who's going to move real clear real quick. So, and I don't regret it. There's not much to do up here. Folks aren't real. They're social if they've known you most of their life. But yeah, if you're the new guy, you're an outsider. No one really. I won't say they don't give you the time of day, but they won't give you much more than that. Folks just keep themselves around here, I guess. And I'm one of these that I'm social. I'm one of the, if I got a bunch of buddies on a weekend, I'll be calling up saying, hey, what y'all doing this weekend? Let's hang out. Let's go bowling. Let's go do whatever. And that doesn't work for the way folks live around here. But I don't regret it. We go on these what we call little back road drives, and unlike Texas where a lot of the back roads have been paved, here I can't say all, but a lot of your FM roads till you start getting further out west have been paved down there. Here all your county roads are still gravel, and so we get out there and we'll pack up a cooler and a couple sandwiches, some drinks and stuff, and we don't get no hurry. We ain't kicking up no dust or nothing, trying to piss nobody off. We just get out there and just putter along and just take in the scenery, and stop here and there and see these old historical markers and things. A building that the only thing left to some of these buildings is the parts that were made of stone. Everything that was wood is already done rotted away and gone. So. What part of Kentucky are you from? I lived in Paducah for a little while. I was living in Peoria, Illinois, and the apartment building I was living in caught fire. The apartment directly above me, some kids was up there partying. Okay, I've been to Bloomfield. Those kids was having a party, and one of them got mad because his girlfriend was flirting with some other guy just for no other reason than the entertainment purposes of pissing her boyfriend off. Instead of just taking it in stride, telling her go to hell, whatever, he decides he's one of these that would get mad and go punch a wall, that kind of thing. Well, the dumbass, instead of going to punch a wall, I guess is smart in this aspect because you never know where there's a stud at and risk busting up your hand. Instead, he went to the little storage room and kicked the copper tubing that was kind of spiraled around coming out of the furnace going into a hard steel pipe. What he didn't understand is that was the gas. So when he kicked it, it busted it open. And of course, it didn't take no time at all for that to start filling up with gas. It didn't explode, thank God. It would have killed everybody. and but it caught fire, which caught the building in fire in no time. It happened to be a very windy day in February, and the fire burned into the apartment next to him, closest to the river, and then burned back across the entire up floor, and then little by little, all 8 units, 4 above, 4 below, gone. So, and of course that left me homeless. So I had at that time was working for Canal Barge Company in Louisiana, Belle Chase, Louisiana, and I had taken a job with Midstream Grocery in Paducah, and what they do is they supply tools and grocery and supplies and stuff to the towboats on the river. So I was still in the barge line industry, but I was no longer actually working on deck like that. I'd still put in 30 days, you know. But the only difference is that I was living in the back of my pickup truck back then, with a camper top over it, not a hard top, not a camper top, you know, just a regular truck topper. And I didn't have any issues, you know. I'd still stay clean and everything. And then they moved me to Memphis, and the branch that they opened in Memphis couldn't compete with the other 2 branches of different businesses that were already there doing the same thing. And then I was going to lose my management status to go back to Paducah and work as a grunt. You know, once you get up to this level, dropping back down to this level, just nah. So I was like, sorry, see you later, bye. And I just stayed in Memphis, and one thing led to another. Found myself in Mississippi, to Texas, and back when I still used to do Facebook, that's where the mama and I met. We met on Facebook. And, you know, those what they call fan pages. And I had posted a photo of myself. What this woman would do, she would always tell, like, on certain nights, she'd tell all the women, all right, girls, let's post a picture. And so make the boys drool, that kind of a thing. And so one night she said, all right, fellas, it's your turn to shine. And I had real long hair back then, kind of like William Lee Golden from the Oak Ridge Boys, but minus the beard. I was clean shaven. And so Elaine and a few other people had made comments on it. Well, then next thing you know, she starts with the what I think they call private messages or whatever on Facebook. And that's all good. So I start responding back, you know, send me the friend request. I accept that. And then one night the phone number appears in one of those private messages. And I'm like, oh, crap. Because you know how cell phones are. The minute you call somebody, they got your number too, unless you block it. But to me, if you're going to block a number, why bother calling them at all? If you don't want them to know what your number is, then just don't call them. So I thought, well, what the heck? She seems like she's really nice. And so I called her back. And next thing you know, the all night, you probably haven't noticed, but I can carry my own weight in a conversation now. So we wound up talking at first just, you know, a few hours. But as this progressed, evening after evening, we became really good friends online. We became better friends online than a lot of the people that I know to this day in person. And next thing you know, the phone conversations were going on from the time I'd get off work. I'd get off work, I'd go grab something to eat, then I'd go to the bar, have a few beers. And then from about 7 o'clock at night all the way through till 7 o'clock the following morning, we'd be on the phone. So much so that my ear would be hurting from going like this, back and forth, you know. And finally, I told her, look, I run a saw. I was on a job site building new construction. And I said, I'm the guy running the saw that 5 other guys are screaming at me for different dimensions. And I'm trying to write them all down or remember them, whatever, and cut like a short order cook at Waffle House. I'm doing the same thing with lumber. Throw this one this way, throw this one this way. And I said, look, sooner or later, because I'm not getting sleep at night, I'm going to be cutting digits off. Okay. I said, I need my fingers. So I said, we can't do this no more. And so I said, either one of us gets closer to the other so that we can actually see each other when I'm not at work and talk and whatever, or we just become really good friends on Facebook and leave it at that. And that's when she suggests selling her home to come down to Texas. At first, that kind of scared me. I was like, whoa, stalker. You know? But I realized that she didn't mean any harm in it. It was just the idea that she saw something in me that I didn't even see in me and felt I was worth the investment. So, yes, I called her that. Yeah, I called you a stalker. But, anyways, that's when we started discussing about the cost of living down there, which you live in near Dallas, you know, Everything is bigger in Texas. They say everything's bigger in Texas, including the cost of living. And San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, you pick any one of the big cities, it's even higher still. So the place I was staying at for free, which it belonged to my boss. And the idea was that when he starts repairing the floors there, it needed all new subfloors and floor joists through the whole house. So he said, when I start doing that, you have to work with me, and then in exchange for that, let you stay there for free. But when the place was done, he was going to be getting, depending on how much of the land he let go with it, because they had 3 or 4 horse pastures plus a barn. And depending on how much someone wanted to go with the house, he'd be getting anywhere from $2,400 to $3,600 in rent. And I was like, there's no way I can afford that. For $500-$600 a month, about the only thing you can find down there in that area is a trailer park that was kind of basically a crackhead kind of development. And the trailer would be very kind of nasty, and you'd probably be lucky to not come home and not find it broke into, that kind of thing. And that's all you can get down there for $500-$600. So I said, no. Well, so I said, okay, so we're both up in our years. At the time, I'm 50 and she's 60. And I said, I said, what are we talking about? She said, well, I'm sure not talking about having no live-in boyfriend. She said, if we're going to get settled together to that point, then, yeah, I'm talking about wanting to be married for the last time, because like, she's been a widow. And so I was like, I'm okay with that. And, you know, at this age, it's not about dating and courting is done a whole different way than it was when we were in our teens and 20s. So I said, but then you don't mind me getting personal with you? I said, we shouldn't have any secrets from each other anyway. She said, no. I said, all right. And I don't think she even knew where I was going with that. And I said, how much is your mortgage? Which at the time was just under $300. Find any place in Texas for under $300. And so I said, well, let me tell you how things are down here. And I started explaining to her what apartment rentals and even trying to, you know, get a mortgage on a home down there. And basically you're looking at $1,000 a month, $1,000 to $1,800 for mediocre, status quo, base living, decent living without being in the slums. You know? And I said, apparently the thing would be not for her to move down there. The thing would be for me to move up here. And of course, no jobs. Where we live, if you're looking at a map of Arkansas, not very far from the Missouri line, US 412 runs across the top of the state. And where it does is a little town, Salem. Straight south of Salem is Melbourne, Arkansas. Melbourne, Arkansas is in the center of Izard County, Izard. And this is what Melbourne's claim to fame is. We have the only signal light in the entire county. There's one red light in this town, right there at the college, and it is the only red light in the entire county. That's Melbourne's claim to fame. It's more, honestly, I'm not sure if you follow NASCAR, but if you do, then you know who Mark Martin is. Mark Martin is actually from Batesville, Arkansas, about 40 miles south of here. And in my opinion, the fact that you're 3 towns away from Batesville, therefore you can say, well, we're directly north of where Mark Martin's from. That's worth bragging about more than the fact that we've got the only red light in town. So, in fact, the Chevrolet dealer and the Dodge dealer here in town are owned by Mark Martin also. So, but if you go to Batesville, Arkansas, the Ford Museum there, or the Ford dealership there, which is Mark Martin Ford, if you remember, most of his cars he drove were Fords. And I won't say half, but a good portion of the building that the Ford dealership is in, when you first go in to the left, is Mark Martin's NASCAR museum. So, pretty cool. But yeah, there's not a lot going on around here. If you have cattle, you can always watch your cattle graze. If not, then you'd be one of them folks just sit out on the porch and watch the grass grow. I don't do that because the grass don't grow real fast out front. It grows like crazy in the back, but it don't grow very fast out front. So I'm one of these. I just come inside and either play guitar, get on YouTube, or watch movies. Pop in a DVD, or I still have a VCR that works, and watch a lot of the older movies. Even though some of them I can go out and buy on DVD now. Why? I got the tape. The tape works. The VCR works. If the VCR ever takes a crap, because they won't be able capable of fixing them anymore, I have another one that works. So no problem. Oh. Well, my friend, we have well, that's true. It's kind of a sportsman's paradise up here though. There's Greer's Ferry Lake, Bull Shoals Lake, and Norfolk Lake. And between the three of them, of course, there's the dams for power and everything else. But of course, wherever there's a dam, the lake becomes a reservoir, and therefore is deeper, and that is a fisherman's haven. So between that, then of course the creeks and rivers through these areas, there's all kinds of, and it's not just deer hunting either. The duck hunting is a big thing in Arkansas. So there's that. But as far as just the average Joe who, after you've been on the road 2 or 3 weeks at a time to come home, about the only thing to do around here is eat. There is a movie theater. A couple of these different bigger towns have movie theaters. But usually I'm not one because of people either talking real loud or kicking the chair because they can't sit still. And you're like this because, these chairs nowadays are made to rock. I'd much rather wait till it comes out in DVD and then watch it then. Privacy in my own home, comfortable, whatever. But as far as, nightlife, not these parts. Nothing. So I think the nearest pub is a private club called the Tally Ho, and it's down the street from a golf course, of course, name like that. And you have to be a member there or be invited in. So, and then further down the VFW, I think in Batesville or outside Batesville or something, they have karaoke. See, I love karaoke. I love karaoke, but I don't want, like some restaurants I've been to have karaoke, and I don't have anything with it. Because I want to have an evening out, drink a few beers, dance a little bit, shoot some pool, throw darts, and sing some songs. And that type of atmosphere apparently is in Tennessee and Mississippi and Alabama, and not around here. Well, I don't like crowds, but I'm not one, and I'm not a drinker per se. Yeah, I do these live streams on Sunday nights. I call it Music, Mouthiness, and Michelob. I like occasional beer. I'm on the road a long time, and I don't drink while I'm on the road. I mean, if I'm going to be tied up for a weekend somewhere, or get wherever I'm going to be Friday night, Saturday morning, and I know I'm stuck there until Sunday night, Monday morning, then yeah, I might go ahead, since I've started doing this little thing with YouTube, I might grab a few beers, play a few songs, entertain some folks, that kind of a thing. And but as far as being a drinker, no, I'm not a drinker. I'll drink a little, but I'm not a drinker. I'm not die hard. But the thing with me is, like, some people will go off they don't want to get in trouble with the law, because about anywhere you go anymore, it doesn't even have to be a big city. The cops are setting up those little roadblocks looking for drunks and whatever on the weekend. So a lot of people, they'll go get a case of beer and bring it home, and then the road at all, they can't get in trouble. Well, it's pretty smart thinking. But to me, that's how alcoholism starts. I've never been one to, even back in the days when I used to drink, get drunk, really tie one on. I've never been one to drink when I'm at home. This is not, to me, it's a social thing. It's about being around with friends, hanging out, and I like the atmosphere in a pub. Now, I don't want to be in a big club, where you see in California, a lot of your bigger cities, people are waiting in line to be let in, that kind of a thing. No, but just, your working man's pub, what kind of place and this is how I've always done, is I will find a place in the town where I live. If they have a few different taverns, I'll find the one that I feel fits my lifestyle, the kind of person I am, Because there's always some that are kind of geared more toward the yuppie crowd. There's some that are geared toward the working man, blue collar. And I'll find where I feel like I fit in. And if they have a jukebox, if they don't have a jukebox and pool tables, I won't be there long. In fact, I'll probably order a beer and leave. If that like that. But the and the idea being that after work, when I was working a regular time clock job, that's what I would do. I'd stop at the bar, have a sandwich, a couple beers, shoot some pool, go home, shower, get up next day, do it all over again. But now that I'm on the road, I already have that chance to do that. But when I finally get some time off, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to have a couple beers, shoot some pool, play the jukebox, dance with my wife. But there's nowhere around here to do that. So, yeah, I haven't been to a bonfire party in a long time, and that was a lot. The people in Paducah. Now I don't know if all of Kentucky is like this. I've been exposed to different places in Kentucky, but I've never really gotten to know anybody beyond. All right, honey, we'll see you up here in a little bit because I'm about ready to call it a night myself. The but the people in Paducah, I wasn't there long at all, and they welcomed me like I was one of the gang. Started inviting me to all different things and whatever else, and it was a good time. Here, we had one friend that come up and said, "Well, y'all come by anytime you want, and we're gonna do supper some night, okay? What night? What time? Well, just when it no." I'm not driving way out into the country where you live to find out that you're either not home or on your way out going somewhere else. So if you're going to invite me over, you got to tell me a time and a day to be there, and I'll be there. And, but in their mind, hey, but we invited you over. So I'm like, no, that's not how it works. So, but, yep, we've got to get going because here about 5 hours. What time is it anyway? It's, yeah. We got to be leaving out of here in about 5 hours. I've got to go to court in Lexington, Tennessee today. And at 1 o'clock this afternoon, it's a 5-hour drive from the house, which would be 8 a.m. But you don't want to leave at the last minute for that either. So we really need to be on the road by about 7. So at least be getting up 7, heading out by 7:30. So, but I appreciate you coming by. And I try to, like I said, when I try to, what she does, just try to promote each other's stuff. I try to get a chance to stop everybody's channel, but it all revolves around my career, like here, what I got going on for the weekend. And, like I said, I've tried to, when I see people going live, if I have the time over, I'll make sure to stop in and say, hey. So, but have a good night, and we'll see you when we see you. All right. I appreciate you. But yeah, I'm going to call this done. Get up there and get some sleep before it comes time to get up in the morning. But we'll see you when we see you. Take care, okay? I appreciate you, man. I really do. I like that, being able to have a little one-on-one. Sometimes when it's just that one person like that. Do you know who Kirsten Tozer is before we go? Kirston Tozer. He is in, I believe, in the UK. He's got red, literally red, not like orange red, but red, like dyed red. He's got a really red beard. He lives in a van, and he takes people along the lakefront where he lives and all that stuff. Real nice guy. I mean, to look at him now, you'd think he's a little different, but he really nice guy, And so I like just the fact that he's from another country, to be able to see parts of the world that I'll probably never get a chance to go see myself. Because different places he goes. Now, he does the cooking thing, too. And when people do the cooking thing, I'm just like, I'm not into that. Next. but yeah. I like when you have, his chats don't have a lot of people on them, sometimes maybe 5. And so when you have a nice small chat like this, it can be more, I don't know if informal is the word I'm looking for. You have a little more one-on-one conversation this way. So I appreciate that. But have a good morning. I said good night, but it's actually good morning now because you're on the same time zone I am. But we'll see you again, man. I guarantee that. I appreciate you. I'm going to go snuggle up with the mom up there before it comes time to get back up again. So, take care.